Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome back to the Wrestling Diaries. I'm your host, Mitchell Rulang. This is the podcast show for the average Joe, inspiration station, the blue collar conversation. Today is something we haven't done in a while. I've kind of been slacking in this department, the spoken word sessions, but I, just doing an episode of this today to just kind of switch it up from doing guests all the time. Nice little artful filler. But, still, the premise of the show is I read off literature or stories that I either came up with myself or somebody sends it in. So I've read off a handful of poems and short stories by really close friends and other people, random strangers that have sent in. So if you listen to this podcast and you have poems or stories or anything that you would like to be read aloud on this medium and for me to do it, then email me or send us a message on the Wrestling Diaries on YouTube or Facebook or any of that kind of stuff. And boom, I will, keep you in regards for like the next episode that we do this. Probably should start doing this more consistently. We kind of got off doing this just because we had such a huge flux of guests coming in, so many people wanting to be on the show. And I think that kind of like diverted me away from doing the spoken word stuff because I'm like, oh, well, if I can get a live guest, it's much better than me just sitting here running my mouth, spouting off poetry and nonsense. For our content, go to YouTube for the video content. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell right there for more content. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and a host of other platforms that have audio podcasts. Also, you can check the video out on Spotify as well. We are also video on there as well. Also, my producer, Matt, has a channel called Hacks Effect, or is it The Hacks Effect? Hacks Effect, which is spelled HAXXAFFECT. Is that correct? Yeah. And he does video game play. He also streams part of the podcast on there as well. And check him out. He's actually an affiliate partner with them now, so he's doing that. He's moving on up there, doing that stuff. So check out Hacks Effect on Twitch for cool vintage video game play. And Matt just goofing off. You also get to see some of Matt's personality since he's always the guy behind the scenes on this show. You get to see more of him and the cool stuff he does. Anyways, today I'm going to read a personal poem that I wrote, and this is about an old flame of mine. Her name is Allison. Allison, if you ever listen to this, well, shout out. But me and her had this like really very passionate but kind of volatile love affair, and we're just in two different places, and I kind of let her go and I didn't chase after her, which I kind of feel like in the end she potentially maybe wanted me to. But I wrote this poem about her. And before I read it, just to give you a glimpse into who she was, Allison was this very, very just physically beautiful person. Like she had the face of like a model. She was very beautiful. And she looked like she was like the most popular girl in school and like captain of the cheerleading squad or something. But she wasn't. She was very introverted and very awkward and quiet. She loved anime, and like her favorite movie was like Spirited Away. And she was kind of an ice queen, and I always used to call her a princess because she had this sass about her. Very sassy, very, stuff like that. People probably know what I'm talking about. But anyways, I wrote a poem about her after our little love affair. And so she, to tell you what she did, she was the manager of a bridal boutique. And so she also modeled wedding dresses on the side. So she did a lot of that stuff. And so, she loved fashion and things like that. So you'll hear a lot of that in this piece. This piece is not degrading. It's also not me like, oh my gosh, I still am in love with you. Please come back to me. It's not any of that. It's just an expression of the way I was feeling at the time. I always said I'm going to have like a physical copy on this. So if I ever run into her, I'll give this to her because I feel like it belongs to her and she can read it or throw it away or whatever. But that's, in my past. But I just thought it was noteworthy to read the poem on here. And I will stop rambling. So this poem is called Love Lost Love Letter, Princess Lily. These neon dreams teeming with broken and unbroken seams, eyes as bright as any gleaming beam of light, and I remember how you'd stay all through the night. Your mood was so tame, an insatiable dame, fluid like cold winter's rain, and your quietly drove me insane, the border of disdain. A soft voice and a tight figure triggered my ravenous, ravishing appetite like a hyper-bouncing cartoon trigger-happy Tigger. Fancy dress-ups, debutante balls, flashy clothes, and makeup, wavy hair that falls. Around this town there was sound that we could be, but it wasn't loud enough. Maybe it was up to me. You weren't always as true. You pretended on red, but your color acted on blue. Lust or love, this fit like a rusted glove, and you seldom looked above. Just stayed below the hull as the ship capsized with a deck and the crew, drowning and dying too. For all your ice, princess, your warmth could be priceless, and the nicest thing you ever said to me was how you dreamed about us living happily ever afterly. Did you mean it? Were you sincere? Nothing about you ever seemed crystal enough to be that clear. Were you really hunting a treasure planet or just exploitation of a living heart creation? Was your temple just a PlayStation or a vacation home for the lodging of any weary canine looking to bury his bone? I digress. I'm distressed. I was impressed with how you radiated in a wedding dress. Put my wants and my needs on my knees begging please to pass your test. And I do solemnly testify that when we skip and flip to the next frame where we lied and I tried and our attempts died and you said goodbye, it wasn't just your sins. I'm sure I sung more false hymns as far as an aching vagabond has been. We share these quiet and soft little memories in our dreams of autumn falling leaves and adjectives of glee. And objectively, I'm sure we see also our folly, and in the smallest of valleys, in perhaps the tiniest of ways, I still believe we won a lot of those days. I'll keep my peace. You keep a piece of me forevermore, sassy, silent, and stunning, and haunts of an unforgotten amour. I'm sorry I didn't fight harder to keep both of our heads above water, and I pray you have no sorrow because I know we both found a better tomorrow, where we laugh, love, and behave. Sometimes I sit and wonder, though, about your disappearance from my stay. The last time I saw you, on what was to be our last day. I like to tell myself that you didn't want to leave, you were just spirited away. Bam! That was good. Did you like that, Matt? He's just giving me the thumbs up. I shouldn't laugh about this. This is serious, right? That was a deep poem. Came from the heart. Very emotional, passionate place. But hey, you know. Anybody out there have relationships, love lost, the proverbial ones that got away? And if you do, how do you feel about that? Are you bitter? Are you longing? Is it just this thing that happened as just a either decent or undecent memory? What does that look like for you? Ladies and gentlemen, I challenge you with that. And that is my final thought today. This is Jerry Springer signing off saying, take care of yourselves and each other. What do you wrestle with? One love.